Yo, before I box this up, I want to show you a couple tricks. We'll go quick. Power on. USB loads in there. I'm going to send that same exact flash drive. So label side out. Your source select. You have USB, CD, MIDI. MIDI is the one that goes out of the back to your computer if you use record box. The jog wheel here is the one that selects. So push that in. You are now in the folders. So folder select here. You can run through all these folders. Select one you want and click in for tracks. You can circle through there and find the track. Push it in to start playing. Play, pause, cue down here. Pause is going to do this. That's that little effect that I told you about. And when you press pause, you can also roll back or forward in the track. And when you unpause, it stops doing that. But I suggest pause, then take your track back to the beginning. Hit the cue. Then it will start from the very beginning. You have the cue point set to the beginning. If you want to set it somewhere else, you just roll it back to the point that you want it to start at. So if we were going to start at the drums or something like that, when you do the toggle wheel, it increases slowly. But if you hold down shift, you can skip through. Hold down shift to skip through quicker. Vinyl mode's there if you ever want it. That is the digital mode when it's off, not blue. And my cue point, if you go back anytime, hit your cue, you've already set it at the beginning, so it should start at the beginning like that. It'll go back to 0 every time. The time to change it from what's left to where you're at, right there, just like that. So that's what's remaining, that's what you've played so far. If you cue it back, it goes back to 0, or it should. You got headphone mixing. These two are effects. Your low, mids, highs. You got a booth out. Master volume is there. Those are your headphones. These 4 are to engage the different effects. Pitch control there. Play cue, thing like that. I'll show you how to cue up a track with drums in a second. You got auxiliary in and out, you got mics. The crossfader actually doesn't work on one side, which doesn't bother me because I do up and down mixing with that. You can set hot cues down here. I'll teach you more about that, but what you really needed to know was about USB select, USB load in, and then your toggle. So if at any point you want to change the folder, just double click USB, click in once right there, and then like I said, you can search through and see what folder you want to go to. I'll pick out something with drums so I can show you how to cue. We'll go to a jazzy one, pick a track, doesn't really matter. It's a Lengthener track. I'm trying to play it too loud. Okay, so you see that's already playing. What I'll do is I'll go down here to pause, set it back to the beginning, and then hit play, pause, roll back until that sound the very beginning of the sound, and hit cue, and that will set your cue point. Cue is always going to take you back to the beginning. So play, pause. I'll do it one more time for you. Hit play, and then hit pause again. Roll it back to where that sound goes away. Hit the cue. Should start you right from the beginning. I'm going to do a different track to show you too. Cue will just pause you back to the start point. I'm going to start another track. See that one there? So what I'll do is start it over, pause it, Back it up till that sound goes away, hit Q, then you're starting from that point. And you can hold down Q and it will keep playing. If you decide to ride with it, you can hit pause or play and it will take over. Anytime you hit Q, it's going to go back to the beginning. Anytime you hit play, it's going to start from the beginning until you set a new cue point. So we'll go to another one. Something with a crisp start here. Not easy to do, is it? There's a good one. So we'll start that track from the beginning. Immediately pause it. Roll back, that's your cue point. Touch Q, and you're set. Takes you back to the cue point every time. There's another good one. Like that. Q, you're in every time. I think that should help, honestly. If you have any other questions and tips, obviously, feel free to ask me. These are more effects here. That's the amount of effects, minimum, maximum. Those are for more like delay effects. I don't know if you'll really use them. These effects are for like filter. I don't know if you can hear that. So that's what that's for. And I always like to keep a couple of rescue CDs in there because this plays CDs too. So I'm sending a couple CDs with you as well. And also the disc that you can use on your computer to get record box to show like on your laptop. So you can put your laptop there and MIDI cord out. I'll see if I got a MIDI cord. MIDI goes out there. So it's that cord to a USB that goes into your computer. This thing has 2 turntable inputs, an auxiliary input, a booth out. It has XLR outs. These 2 little screws come out. When you get this, they'll come out, and then there's a little iPhone cradle that goes right there. The tabs on the cradle insert into these little slots, and then those screws come out and go back in just to make it sturdy. Headphones are, I have it propped up, but the headphones are down here in the front. I think there's 2 of them. I think there's a 1/4 inch. Am I lying? Yeah, there's a 1/4 inch and an 1/8 inch that can be used together, so you can teach someone how to mix pretty easily. But your tracks are here. Shift always helps you when you hold down shift. I can't do it because I'm holding the phone, but when you hold down shift, you can fast forward a lot faster to find your cue point, and then whatever cue point you find, you know, you can just roll back, play pause, roll back to silence, touch cue, and then you're set. With vinyl mode, it's a little weird. And in order to really stop it, you have to like hit shift and do it. But I think you'll like digital mode. Again, blue is vinyl mode, no color. Here's a good example, because the drop isn't right away, so you want to set a cue point. So you'll find your cue point. That little guitar sound right there. And right before that, cue. Then you can just, actually that's kind of loose. Let me try it again. Right before the bass drum, there we go. There we go, so we're kicking it now. And remember, anytime you hit play pause, it's gonna do this. So if you want to go back to your cue point, always go back to cue. A thing that will happen to you, you'll probably have, you'll probably start to play it and you'll want to cue it back, and you'll do this again, and then your brain will make you want to go to cue again and do that. Well, what will happen is that's where the new cue point is. You see what I mean? So try to make sure that you remember that every time you push play, when you push pause, it's going to do that. So to set a cue point, you just want to make sure. Right before that bass drum. I hope that helps, man. I really think you're going to enjoy this thing. It's weird doing a little tutorial like this. I've never done anything like it. But these little tips and tricks hopefully will help you. When it's flashing the effect, that means that it's activated. When it's not flashing, it's not activated. Trying to think if there's anything I forgot, because I got this pretty wrapped up in one little video. There's the ejects for each CD. Back, when you're navigating through the menu, the back button can take you, because you're in the folder with the tracks, it'll take you back out to the list of folders. I'm sorry, that's actually just back off of that track into the list of tracks. Back again will take you into the folders. And then back one more time will take you all the way out of the menu, which you'll then have to click to go into again, select through folders. And some of the folders have folders inside them too, you'll see. But roll through here, find what you want, click it in, find the song that you want, and select it right there. And then again, the back button will help you navigate. Info tells you, it changes from beats per minute. It'll show you the little beat counter. The beats counter on this thing is not terribly accurate. You'll notice that it comes up right there. And when you go up and down your pitch, with your pitch like that, you'll see it adjust there. There is a tempo lengthener. You got to make sure you're plus or minus 10, which is that red button right there, plus or minus 10. So if I tap that, it'll do plus or minus 6, plus or minus 10, or 16, which is wide. So what we'll do, and wide is another option actually. So let me click it once for you. It's plus 16, plus or minus. Plus 6, plus or minus. You want to keep it on 10, and I have it on 10 over here as well. So yeah, that may help too. That might have been a good thing. Info, but yeah, info will change from track title and stuff to the beat counter, and then if you're looping, it'll show you where to that's where you go for these things. You can loop and then do your beat, and you can turn the loops to 2s, 4s, 8s, 1s, whatever. But I usually leave it on that. You'll see your track progress here. This is with the time from beginning to start, so what you've played so far, 34 seconds. I always leave it in time that's left, which will show that the bar takes away as you go. I think that I'm glad that I mentioned that last part with not only the back button, but the time and the info. And then remember, buttons get pushed sometimes. Vinyl mode, tempo wide, master tempo, kind of, if you have it hooked up to record box, it will master the tempos together. It's kind of like a lazy man's trick. I don't really like it. Hot cues I can teach you about later. We're at about 15 minutes here in a second, so I'm gonna leave you the heck alone and let you play. I hope that helps, man. If you have any questions, call me, text me. I expect some recordings. Enjoy, man.